Hello everyone, we are here at the Lausitzring and we're absolutely psyched. It's the second race weekend of the DTM season 2018 and we are hoping to see the same kind of action we did at the last race of the Hockenheim Ring, because that truly was racing at its best. But now, of course, first of all, it's time for the qualifying, so let's get started. But first, here's your commentator.
Thank you very much, Verena. Well, Gary Paffett delivered. He was one of three drivers, really, that delivered so much excitement for us at the season opener at Hockenheim. Will he be able to deliver the same here? Well, only time will tell. Short, sharp qualifying session. Jamie Green, who will be hoping for a better result here at Lausitzring than he was able to achieve at Hockenheim for the season opener. Jamie Green then. The crash helmet about to go on, along with the hands device, the head and neck security device, of course, that all the drivers are wearing. It's a slightly longer version of the Lausitzring circuit than we've been used to with DTM. And here is another one of the protagonists that gave us such entertainment at Hockenheim, Timo Glock. What can Timo Glock do in qualifying? What will he be able to deliver in the race this afternoon? Time will tell, but what an opener we had that weekend at Hockenheim. Alongside me is racing driver Alex Toril. It was two epic races that will linger a long time in the memory because they were super races. DTM absolutely at its best.
Definitely, Dave. It was incredible race weekend at the Hockenheim. It was really nice to watch from the outside, really nice for you to commentate. Now I'm back, so I hope to enjoy the same here at the Lausitzring. Also really nice track when we see the car of Phillip Eggman, one of the newcomers, which is showing a really good pace here at the Lausitzring. So looking forward to see what it's his qualifying pace. Another car in the front row at the pit lane, Erickson. Also amazing performance on the Sunday race at Hockenheim.
Well, we will see. Of course, you know Phillip Eggman particularly well. In fact, Alex and Phillip live very close to each other. They're one of the old extraction machines. Now, this is what happened in free practice too. Paffett was at the top of the timing sheet, as you can see, a 1:37.681. Paul di Resta, then it was Timo Glock in P3. So we are hoping for a similar entertainment spectacle in terms of DTM racing here at the Lausitzring that we had at Hockenheim. But before all that, of course, we have the 20-minute short, sharp qualifying session to get underway, which will set the grid for the race to come this afternoon. The BMW Bank driver you saw there, the number 7 car of Bruno Spengler, who took a P6 and a P8 away from Hockenheim and will be hoping to advance his way up the order significantly. And there, the Jamie Green car, as I mentioned, Jamie Green had a torrid time of it at Hockenheim, only taking a P19 and a P17. To discuss him with him yesterday, he was hoping for much, much better and couldn't really put a handle on why everything was so torrid at Hockenheim, a circuit where, of course, he has gone so very, very well before. And he says, hoping to put that behind him and that his performance here will be significantly better. And tempted to say the performance of Audi overall, but when you consider just how strong Mike Rockenfeller was in race 2 at Hockenheim, hopefully Audi have got to the bottom of the problems that affected just some of their cars in the opening weekend. Of course, a big reduction in terms of aero for the DTM cars for this year, some 30% down, so we're missing some of those aero flicks, and that means, Alex, you're a racing driver. Basically, that means it's more mechanical grip you need rather than aero grip. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. This is the two parts of the car. It's made of aerodynamic grip and mechanical grip. Mechanical grip is, let's say, all the mechanical components that help you to keep the car on the racetrack, suspension, roll bars, and all this stuff. And then, as you said, all these flaps, wings, front wings, spoilers. That helps you to keep the car. The floor also is really important, the bottom floor of the car, to keep the car on the track, and this is giving you the aerodynamic grip. And it's a mix of them that gives the car. And of course, the more aerodynamic grip, the more you speed, the faster you can go through the corners.
Okay, well, the reduction in aero, in my opinion, proved to be exactly the right direction to go for these cars, because the race action that delivered in the opening weekend was supreme, as we see the number 25 car of Phillip Eggman making his way out of the garage as the rest of the cars that are out there already make their way down the pit lane, including this car of Eduardo Mortara, center screen right now. Right behind him is Augusto Farfus. And we go qualifying for race number 3. And the Lloyd Duval car, also the car of Robin Frins. And the rest of the cars are making their way out. The Paul di Resta Mercedes-Benz right at the back of the pack that you saw there. And here comes the Bruno Spengler BMW from Team RBM, making its way down the pit lane. So, slightly different version of the circuit here as Gary Paffett remains in the garage for the moment. The circuit has been elongated compared to the 3.4 kilometers that we've had previously. We now have some 4.534 kilometers, made up of 14 turns, 8 of them left, 6 of them are right-handers here at this Lausitzring circuit, which opened its doors for business back in the year 2000. Here comes Gary Paffett then. Of course, he took a win in the opening race and was trying so hard for the win in the second race at Hockenheim. He eventually took a P3 place, but as he said, he is a racer and he's always going to go for the win where possible. There, Jamie Green then in the number 53 Audi. Making his way down the pit lane now. And also making his way down the pit lane, Marco Wittmann. Number 11 race car, 2 P11 finishes in the opening rounds for the former champion. We'll be hoping for more at this round at Lausitzring. There's Lucas Auer, the young Austrian driver of car number 22, who banked a P2 and a P15 in the races at Hockenheim. They get oh so close to the wall on this old oval part of the circuit. That's where they really do come so close to the concrete, turn in. And just one of the many photographers that are here. René Rast then in car number 33, the current DTM champion, who took a P9 and a P7 in the opening weekend. So René Rast then in the Audi, of course, won the DTM title in his first full rookie year. And a good showing, as Alex pointed out, from Joel Erickson, another rookie, and also from Phillip Eggman. Will we see, right at the end of the season, another rookie potentially take the championship? A lot of racing to be had before then. Great shot there, Alex, and René Rast really giving his right foot some exercise.
Yeah, we see not only the right foot, it's more for me to look at the left foot, it's really the most important one. We see he was accelerating and at the same time braking, just to warm up the tires, because we remember DTM since the last season there is no more tire heaters on the slick tires, so it's really important to warm up those tires. So we see brake and throttle. It's the important or the basic steps to warm up the tires. As we see is Lucas Auer start to push, so really important to heat up the tires and do the right procedure to get it up to temperature, trying to avoid all kind of curbs at the first step of the laps.
Alex Toril alongside us then, top racing driver, giving us a racing driver's perspective on this qualifying session and also the race to come this afternoon. The drivers weaving from side to side. Big lock up there from Lucas Auer. So Lucas Auer with only 15 3/4 minutes in this qualifying session. Auer with a 1:41.085. Expect those times to come tumbling down during the course of the next 15.5 minutes, of course. So it's Auer that we track at the moment then, the Lucas Auer car number 22. And Wehrlein and Eduardo Mortara, we also put the clocks on as well, all of them doing a better of anyone in the first 2 sectors. Joel Erickson doing a personal best through Sector 1. So the green indications at the bottom of your screen, they're split into 3, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3. And basically, if they're green, that means their personal best for that particular driver. If they're pink, it means they're best of anybody. And if they're white, it means it's okay, but just okay. It's not set any records, if you like. So Lucas Auer with a 1:37.941. Then we get to more meaningful times now. As I said, the previous times were based on outlaps, so not the ones to take any notice of. Now, Phillip Eng was quick at times during the free practice sessions. He's currently third fastest, but crucially for Phillip Eng, he's gone, as you can see, 2 purple sectors, Sector 1 and Sector 2, as he makes his way towards the timing line now. Here comes Phillip Eng. This could be a new fastest lap as Phillip Eng crosses the timing line. Sure enough, he goes to the top of the chart with a 1:37.495. 1:37.495 for Phillip Eng. Lucas Auer is P2. Joel Erickson is P3. Here's Paul di Resta, who now goes P3, some 7/10ths down on the time that's been set by Phillip Eng so far. So Paul di Resta in the Mercedes-Benz. Phillip Eng, of course, in the BMW. Bruno Spengler now goes second fastest. That BMW bank car has just crossed the line with a 1:37.909. So some 3/10ths down on Phillip Eng at the moment. And on board with this splitter cam of Timo Glock then as we head towards the timing line. 2 personal bests for Timo Glock. Where does this put him? He puts him P2. So Timo Glock back in the game again. Just 2/10ths down on the fastest time thus far from Phillip Eng. So looking good for BMW at the moment, P1 and P2. Here comes Marco Wittmann, who, like Timo Glock before him, has done personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He rounds out the lap and returns to what is part of the old tri-oval here. Doesn't get quite as close to the concrete as some of the drivers do. Tries to shorten the turn as much as he can before he breaks the timing beam. And Marco Wittmann then, current champion, well, despite the fact it was a quicker than anyone in Sector 3, it still only means P8. Now, here comes Gary Paffett then in the Mercedes-Benz. You're looking at the sector times as we speak, Alex. And it was a remarkable lap from Phillip Eng, which has no one has got within a couple of tenths of that yet.
Yeah, it's as always, we have the first wave or the first shot on qualifying. Still some drivers who needs to close the lap, like Gary Paffett or Nico Müller. But so far so good for Phillip Eng, who just came into the pit. Probably he will come in, wait a little bit, and then with around 8-7 minutes to go for the second shot, as they pretty much always do.
As you say, it's like two qualifying in one, isn't it? Because the drivers come out early on and try and bank a reasonable lap, don't they? And then rest, look at the tyres, consider putting another set on, then they go out again. We're on board with René Rast now. He's done 2 PBs, but whilst he improves 4 places, it is only 5 places actually. It's P13 for René Rast with a 1:38.345. Here comes Marco Wittmann again with 2 PBs through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Returns to the oval part of this circuit now. Marco Wittmann in the BMW heading to break the timing beam. Marco Wittmann then currently P10. Is this an improvement as he gets to the timing beam now? Yes, he improves 2 places, but he's still 5/10ths down on that time of his BMW brand mate, Phillip Eng. And this is what always interests me, Alex, is that, you know, between drivers in the same manufacturer, you can see a demonstrable difference in terms of what their cars are able to do out there on track. Because, of course, all the independent teams within the manufacturer, they may choose to set up the cars slightly differently.
Yeah, exactly. It's also different. There are drivers which are better on one racetrack than the other. They like one racetrack more than the other.
Sure.
Some sort of corners are suitable. So at the end of the day, it's always also a bit of a difference. Setup-wise, it's a difference. We also know within the manufacturers, they also sometimes try a different setup with different drivers to see what it's the setup which is working the best towards the race. But as we know from DTM and from experience, till the checker flag is dropped, everything can happen.
Absolutely, and generally it's so close. At the moment then, we have a difference. Well, the fastest time is a 1:37.495. We only have 3 cars out there on track. Mike Rockefeller, Jamie Green, Marco Wittmann, and also the car of Augusto Farfus. There is the car of Timo Glock, which is currently 2nd fastest. You can see all the drivers that are in the pit now, including Gary Pavitt. The best Gary Pavitt has been able to deliver so far is a 1:38.135, which has delivered him P10. So Timo Glock, of course, comes into this weekend top of the points chart. Only a points margin between himself and P2, and this is a great shot of Mike Rockefeller hard at work then inside the Audi.
Okay, good. P1.
So Mike Rockefeller then fighting with that car, and as you can see, the left foot and right foot going to work on the pedals. It's a wonderful onboard shot that we can bring you. Most of the drivers, of course, here apply left foot braking. And Mike Rockefeller then, his sector times are nothing to write home about, it has to be said, and don't read too much into this lap from Mike Rockefeller. Of course, during the course of the race with the mandatory pit stop, an awful lot can change and an awful lot can happen as Mike Rockefeller comes into the pit lane as well. That's the René Rast car number 33, the current DTM champion. Screen on the steering wheel there to check all the times and see where everyone else is relative to where he is. And for René Rast, most of them are ahead of him. And some great shots in replay here of the teams that go to work on the various cars, as we now do not have one car out there on the track. So what have we got left in this qualifying session? 8.25 minutes. That's all. Robin Frinn's car there. And this, the car of Pascal Wehrlein that we can see. Here is Gary Pavitt. So some super slow-mo replay shots of just how far they're prepared to push these cars in the course of qualifying, because, of course, it does give them their place on the grid for this afternoon's race. Phillip Eggman, then, certainly, as I said, you know him very, very well. Phillip is quite a quiet, unassuming driver who just goes about his business. He got his chance into DTM this year, and really, really pleased for him because he's a super guy, as we see Lucas Sauer with a huge lock-up there. Going back to what you were saying about certain drivers favour certain tracks, presumably we would argue from the times that we've seen from Phillip Eggman in free practice and now in qualifying as well, that perhaps Lausitzring is one of his favoured tracks.
Yeah, he's, remember, I mean, I raced with him, we were teammates here 2015 in German Carrera Cup and some race of Super Cup. It here was definitely one of the racetracks where he was really fast, he was really strong. I think, remember, by that time he won both races, and by far he pulled a massive gap. And another track where he's really strong is Zandvoort, for example.
Yes.
He always liked Zandvoort so much, and he was really strong. And I think it will also be a favorite there because he likes that track so much. But anyway, nowadays everyone here on the grid is super experienced drivers, a lot of drivers with a lot of mileage on the DTM first of all, and a lot of racing experience, GT prototypes and all sort of race cars. And definitely that doesn't mean anything, but I always remember Phillip being a really good and strong driver here on the Lausitzring.
Thanks for that info then. So Phillip Eggman then, his liking for this track perhaps assisting with regards to the lap time that he's been able to deliver so far, a 1:37.495, which gives him P1 as we get into perhaps the second wave of this qualifying now. We're on board with Joel Erickson then, who made an impressive debut at Hockenheim. As you can see, back in 2017, second place in Formula 3. And that's where I first met Joel, and he's got his chance in DTM, and as I say, he impressed on that opening weekend, taking a P4 in the second race of the weekend. So many of the cars make their way out now. So all of a sudden, the 4.534 kilometer configuration of Lausitzring, which is new for DTM, becomes a very busy place. The big cooling fans that are in front of that Gary Pavitt car, as Gary Pavitt yet to make his way out of the garage and try and improve on his current P10 position. So Lausitzring statistics for Gary Pavitt, as you can see. 17 races, 3 victories he's taken here, and 4 podiums and 1 pole position. Can he add to the pole positions in the second part of qualifying? We will see as Gary prepares himself inside the Mercedes-Benz car, ready to get back out on track. Lucas Au then in car number 22. Currently third fastest. He's on an out lap now, as you can see. So what can Lucas Au deliver? He is 137.734. The best that he's been able to find so far. Lucas Au, for so much of the season last season, was in the championship hunt. Went off a bit towards the middle of the season, then at the Nürburgring came back into it again. Well, certainly for the first race of Nürburgring. So Pavitt then makes his way down the pit lane to rejoin with just 4 minutes remaining, which means basically for Gary Pavitt it's going to be this out lap and 1 hot lap, maybe 2, before the session will be over. So these drivers, they really take a gamble, in my opinion, Alex, at some point, because what Gary needs to try and do now is buy himself some space on the circuit, because if he gets mired up with traffic, that kind of limits your opportunity to better yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always really difficult on qualifying, and it's one of the biggest problems or bigger problems all the drivers. Sometimes the car is working perfectly, but if you get traffic,
yes,
you might ruin your lap, as you say. So definitely it's really important to make your space. Therefore we have engineers, we have radio connection that they can help. They have a screen like we see right now where all the cars are placed on the racetrack, on the track map, so they can say, okay, cars are coming behind you, or now you have a guy, go, go, go. For example, we see car number 3, which is Paul Di Resta. He's now going into this into the last corner, this parabolica corner, bank corner, and he's completely alone. He has Mortara ahead of him, but far away and no one behind him, so he's in a perfect position for a qualifying lap.
So that track map that we see and we have on our timing screen here in our race commentary position, indicating where every single car is on the track. So as Alex says, the engineers are able to say, right, you have a clear track ahead of you, you've got no one in front, no one behind, you can go for it. But with just 2.5 minutes left, it's now or never, and Lucas Au through Sector 1 was not hugely impressive. You can see it's just a white colour on the Sector 1 block underneath his name there, but Lucas Au the first in this sort of second part of qualifying that we put the clock on now. So we'll see what he does through Sector 2. And here in replay you can see the back end of the car kicking out. And even that innocuous little slide there, Alex, costs you a couple of 100ths, doesn't it?
Definitely on a fast lap, it's something you have to avoid. It looks really good for the TV,
of course,
to do some drift, but it's definitely not suitable for a fast lap. And we start now to see some green sectors, so tires are coming into the right temperature, starting to work with 1 minute 40 to go.
Is it also a point, Alex, as a racing driver, you leave it to perhaps the second part of the qualifying? Is that because the rubber that goes down in the first part of qualifying will help you perhaps in the later part of qualifying?
Yeah, it's a mix of situations. First, the rubber, of course, but also the rhythm as a driver.
Right.
We see now, for example, Phillip Eggman, bam, straight 25A, the purple sector 1. It's mainly about the rhythm. You know, you do 1 lap, you know, there is always some places where you can say, oh, maybe here I could have run a little bit more speed or brake a tiny bit later and improve those things. And that's why always the times comes a little bit better on the second part, because you improve those small margins. And especially here on the DTM with so much technology, you see sometimes the drivers coming into the box and between the first and the second shot, having an iPad on his hand, looking at the live data, comparing live data with other brand members, so they can improve these tiny details.
Thank you.
That's why mainly the times are coming faster.
Thank you. So Phillip Eggman through Sector 1 was quicker than anyone. Through Sector 2 it was a PB. Here comes Timo Glock now. We've got just 30 seconds left on the clock. Timo Glock, now it's going to be his final lap. Phillip Eggman, a 137.495 as he heads towards the timing beam now. You can see him hugging a 137.350 for Phillip Eggman. Lucas Au now, PB through Sector 1, quicker than anyone through Sector 2. We're watching Paul Di Resta in car number 3. The best Paul di Resta has been able to deliver so far gives him P11 on the grid, so Paul di Resta is looking for an improvement, but here comes Lucas Auer. This could be an improvement. As I said, green sector 1, purple sector 2. Here comes Lucas Auer. It's his last shot as he crosses the line. Lucas Auer goes provisionally by 7 1,000ths of a second to the top of the timing chart. Edo Mortara crosses the timing line. He is currently P7. Those cars that are still out on track are on a hot lap. As Paul di Resta now rounds the final turn, he heads towards the checkered flag and he improves 4 places, goes up to P8. But Lucas Auer, you don't always have to produce better than anyone's sector time. A personal best sometimes can be enough. Marco Wittmann is P6. And lock up there for Paul di Resta, who lost the back end of the car, and that cost him dearly. So that was probably, that cost him 2 or 3 places in terms of qualifying. So Lucas Auer then with a 1:37.343, the quickest driver. Phillip Eggman 1:37.350. So the margin is minuscule between P1 and P2. There is Lucas Auer, the young Austrian driver, who very much wants to get it all back together again. He opened the season so well with a P2 in race 1 at Hockenheim, and then it was a P15 in the second race. But here in qualifying for race 1, he's put himself P1. So great job by Lucas Auer. There you can see the congratulations down there in the Mercedes garages. So Lucas Auer, Phillip Eggman, Bruno Spengler, Pascal Wehrlein. We've hardly mentioned Pascal Wehrlein during the course of qualifying, but here, super slow-mo of the fastest driver, 1:37.343. Alex, this is what I was saying about how close it is in DTM. We are talking 7 1,000ths of a second between Lucas Auer and Phillip Eggman.
Yeah, it's extremely nothing. If we watch up the sector times, Phillip Eggman in his lap did a small mistake on the last sector, and that's why he probably lost the pole position. And Lucas Auer managed to put all the sector together and get that lap. But anyway, it's a fantastic thing to see. It's all so close. Unfortunately, we need to go, I think, to P9 to find the first Audi with the Nico Müller. But anyway, we saw the race, you know, everything can change. Yep. The rhythm of one car on the race is different to the other, and it's really good to see that it was always DTM delivers, you know, so close lap times and so close fighting. So I'm really looking forward for the race later on.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant as we look at Lucas Auer. His first DTM victory, of course, was here at the Lausitzring in 2016, being weighed as we speak. And Lucas Auer will be very happy with his qualifying performance. So too, though, will Phillip Eggman, who, as I say, it was congratulated there by Bruno Spengler and Phillip Eggman as well. Phillip Eggman then rookie into the DTM Championship for this year. What a great job done by Phillip Eggman as a rookie. Lucas Auer, though, is fastest. He will go from P1, then it will be Phillip Eggman, Bruno Spengler, Pascal Wehrlein, Timo Glock, Marco Wittmann, Edo Mortara, Paul di Resta, Nico Müller, and rounding out the first 5 rows of the grid will be Mike Rockenfeller. Then we'll see Joel Erickson, Robin Frins, Loic Duval, Gary Paffett, Rennie Rast, Augusto Farfus, Jamie Green, and of course your buddy Daniel Juncker-Deyer going from P18 on the grid. So Lucas Auer to the left-hand side of your picture, Phillip Eggman to the right-hand side of the picture there.
It's a 1-2 for Austria.
Yeah, it is actually, isn't it? Yes.
It's a 1-2 for Austria.
There, Auer, Eggman, and Spengler then, all smiles for the focus of the media here at the Lausitzring.
I'm happy for Phillip.
It's good.
It's nice to be second race already on the top position. It feels good as a racing driver.
But Alex, we know the quality of the drivers. We know that. It's the margins within DTM that are so very close. I mean, if you look at it, from P1 to P12, we are talking no more than 6/10. No more than 6/10.
Everything really tight, and it was a characteristic from DTM. Everything always so close together, and give us so much excitement for the race.
Excellent stuff. So there we have it, qualifying done and dusted.
And I'm now here with Phillip Eggman. Congratulations, rookie, your first year in a second place, and it was this tight. So how are you feeling?
It's unbelievable. I'm so happy. Hockenheim was quite difficult for me, and to be now in the first row in my third DTM race is, I can't believe it. It's incredible. I have to thank my engineer Ruch and my performance engineer Kuhn and the whole RBM team and BMW. We worked really hard since Hockenheim, and those guys know how hard it was, so I'm very happy to be standing here right now.
Fantastic qualifying, so best of luck for the race later on. Thank you very much, Phillip. So let's see what the race brings.
Well, let's see what the race brings then. Thorough excitement, we can almost feel it already. So Mercedes-Benz going from P1 then to BMW's P2 and P3. Great news for Phillip Eggman. He did a great job in qualifying as the turbine, I was going to say, spins behind the Eurospeedway Lausitzring main grandstand. It's not so much spinning as just turning around, but fantastic effort from Phillip Eggman, doing a great job. Here comes the grid then, as we will know it, for race 3 of the season 2018. Lucas Auer and Phillip Eggman then will go from P1 and P2. Bruno Spengler, P3 and P4 for Pascal Wehrlein. Timo Glock, so in so much of the action at Hockenheim, will go from P5 with Marco Wittmann alongside in P6. Then it's Eduardo Mortara and Paul di Resta with two Mercedes-Benz together on row 4 of the grid before it's Nico Müller and Mike Rockenfeller on row 5. Going from P11 and P12, Joel Erickson and Robin Frins. Then we see Loic Duval and Gary Paffitz. Before the next row of the grid, which gives us René Rast and Augusto Farfus. Then we find Jamie Green and Daniel Juncadella bringing up the back of the grid for race number 3 of the season, but race 1 here at Lausitzring as we look at the pole-sitting car once again down there. I'm really falling in love with the colour of Lucas Auer's car, and, well, whether you love the colour or whether you don't, you can't doubt it and its driver's performance during that qualifying session, because he will be going from P1 on the grid for this afternoon's race. 55 minutes plus 1 lap, and of course that mandatory pit stop. And whatever you've done in qualifying, whilst it gives you the best chance possible, of course anything and everything can unfold in the race to come this afternoon. And this, a fantastic shot of Lucas Auer, who really did give it absolutely everything during qualifying, and he's 1:37.343. 7 1/1000ths ahead of the BMW driver Phillip Eggman. So Lucas Auer it is that will be going from P1. Phillip Eggman P2, Bruno Spengler P3, Pascal Wehrlein P4, Timo Glock P5. There we can see the top 3 then. Lucas Auer, Phillip Eggman and Bruno Spengler. The 1, 2, 3 from that qualifying session. Short, sharp as always, and driving plenty of entertainment right until the very last moment. So we're looking forward to the race this afternoon, which comes up for 55 minutes plus 1 lap. Can't wait for that.
So in this qualifying, we really saw how tight it is, and I'm certainly looking forward to a super tight race. Mercedes-Benz is dominant here at the Lausitzring, as we know, and Lucas Auer starting in pole. But let's not forget, we got 2 very strong BMW behind him. So let's see what the race brings. See you in a bit, and here are the highlights of the qualifying.